Hello, everyone. My name is Wynne-Jones, and I'm joined this evening or this morning by Eileen Murphy from Ireland.
Hello.
Awesome. And we're here today to talk a little bit about nature deficit disorder. So, Eileen, you had a statistic that is a little bit scary. Do you want to share it with us?
Yeah, yeah. I think it's important, and the statistic is that we're between 1% and 5% of our time is spent outdoors. So if you can imagine that, like, I don't even know how to equate that into a day. Over 10
Yeah.
years, you've only spent a handful of your time, 1% of your time outdoors. Like, I know in the northern hemisphere, you're in the southern hemisphere, but we're just kind of coming out of winter, and it's April, and the weather is just a bit kind of hectic in April in Europe and in the northern part of the world. But we haven't been outdoors much, and like, yeah, like, what is that creating for people, you know,
Yeah.
energetically,
And
just in their lives?
yeah, and their bodies. And I mean, I know so I've traveled to England quite a few times, and I used to love going there in summer because it was like 10 o'clock at night and you could still be running outside. But you go there in winter and it's like, what? It's dark already. This is not supposed to happen. So yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. And I think, people that like live in countries like Sweden and stuff, like, it's a big part of like, all right, when it's sunny, you go out, you get outside because that's it. It's
Yeah,
going to
it
be
goes away.
6 months. Yeah. And so yeah, and it's, I guess it's like, we have been spent so much of our life being outdoors where we gather our food, and basically it's like that was the way that we lived with the outdoors, and we've very much created lifestyles that have removed ourselves from that. And I guess especially with COVID, a lot of people have gotten used to running their business from indoors, and just ordering their groceries, basically doing everything from doors. So,
Yeah.
well, so what do you like? How do you get outside? Like, what's fun for you? What are the main kind of attractions that bring you outside, and what benefits sort of do you notice from doing that?
Well, I can say, my life is, and that's the bit of what I found shocking about the statistic is my life is pretty much outdoors. And if it wasn't pouring rain right now, because I live in Ireland, I would probably be videoing this from outdoors on my like cell phone because technology is fantastic. And it hasn't drawn me indoors, but it's pouring rain right now and technology doesn't like the rain. But I would be outdoors probably 12 hours a day. So, so when I just saw it somewhere and I thought, like, 1 to 5% of your day outdoors is just inconceivable to me in a way. And I mean, like, how that affects my life is like, I don't know what it's like to spend that much time indoors in a way.
Yeah, I mean,
Unless I'm like,
I know
uh,
you've got like horses and everything. So, like what, like,
there's
and I
times when I don't want to be outdoors,
yeah, you're like,
but
I don't want
I
to go out in the mud and, clean my horses and feed my horses. I want to stay inside and stay warm and have a cup of tea.
yeah, yeah, because even they're sheltered in sheds, but I still have to go out and through the weather to get to the shed where they are, and they're all wrapped up in their blankets inside in their
Yeah.
shed. But like even they will like if you give it's very interesting with creatures, the horses and a lot of animals. If you give them the option of having an open shed versus their natural environment, which is a kind of a grassy field with hedges and like sheltered areas like big trees, they will not opt for the shed unless they've been climatized to the shed. They will stand up behind a hedge again with their bum against the wind and just kind of sit there and huddle it out. They don't go into sheds until you condition them to do it. But or you have the occasional one that's clever and goes in and eats all the food before the rest of them or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I mean, I've
I,
often been
sorry.
driving past when it's been, pouring down or like stormy or freezing, and like just looking at the animals and being like, what? How come you guys are not like cold? Or, they just look like they're like dealing with it okay. They're just like, all right, this is what it is, and,
Yeah.
whatever.
And not that long ago, like we were pretty much the same. Like we didn't have a thing called central heating, glass windows. It was, you know, like you just fended for yourself in the environment you're in. And we, people survived, obviously, because we're here today. But I wonder what kind of an effect it has. Have you ever had kind of an extended period where you weren't like allowed out or spend time outside or?
I mean, I've definitely had times, but I'm a bit like yourself, where for me, being outside is kind of like a necessity, and I've very much created my life in a way that I can be outside and moving around. For the majority of it. So, yeah, for me, it's not something that I particularly desire. But I have noticed like there'll be times where I do spend a fair bit of time inside, and I'll really notice, okay, I need to like go out and have a walk and be in the sun, or I need to go out and do something, or like I notice if I'm getting unhappy, then usually it's because I haven't exercised for a while, or I haven't been for a surf, or haven't been out in the sun for a while. So I definitely notice a correlation between like my mental health and being outside for sure.
That's interesting. Yeah, the mental health thing, because yeah, I don't know. I spend so much time outside that I don't have that, but I don't have any statistics or any kind of backup information for it. But when they've actually managed to label it like a disorder, like nature deficit disorder, like there's all these OCDs and ADHDs, when it's been given its own label of a disorder, I'm like, how much do we underestimate what like spending a percentage of our time outside, like that is at least in the double digit, like 10% of your day outside, which is, you
Yeah.
know,
And I know some people have really busy lives as well, and you might work in an office and you're like, okay, this is nice, but how the hell do I kind of get outside? And one thing that one tool that I've used is to, for one day a week, and for 1 hour every day, do something that nurtures you and your body. So even if you do work in an office, you can always carve out 1 hour a day and one day a week to do something that you love, that's fun, that's, outside, enjoying the elements and, breathing the fresh air, feeling the sun on your skin or the rain, whatever it happens to be. But it is possible to create. And I think you've got to really include nature and animals in your life. Like I know during COVID, a lot of people got pets because they're allowed to go outside and walk their dogs or even their cats in certain circumstances. So
and
it's like a good excuse to be able to be outside.
and that
So
was that was something that when you mentioned pets, it's like we only spend, say, someone who only has spent 1% or they haven't been outside all day, but they do have, like, I have two dogs with me at the moment. I know you have two dogs. Are we counting pets as being outside in nature, or are we not counting them? And then, like, where's the taking into account you're having your two dogs to play with, even though you didn't go into nature, you've had the two dogs, and you're playing with them on the floor in the sitting room or something like that. Or they're sitting on your lap, or you're talking to them. you know, so
yeah.
they're like, is that, are we kind of, where does that come into it? I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, I mean, for me personally, nature, I think, is being out like in the elements. So,
Mm,
you can always have elements of nature in your house, which I think helps a lot, like, plants and animals and, opening your windows to the breeze and all of that kind of thing. But I think for me, being out in nature is like, being exposed to the elements and
taking
being,
your body
yeah,
outside. Mm.
and where things grow wild, like I think that's really important as well. Like I like going to parks, but sometimes you go to a park that's completely kind of man-made, and it's like it's way different to going to a forest, where it's like you get the full experience of all of the parts of
Yeah,
nature kind of.
I
Yeah.
have a funny story, and it's a very short one. I saw a photograph that you posted once, like one of the first ever pictures I saw you post of a snake, this massive brown snake. I'm in Ireland. We don't have snakes. And you're like, oh, I was just taking a walk to the beach. And there's like a massive big snake in the middle of the path. And I was like, what? They just, and you're like, go off out into the wild, into the, no, I would die. I'm too Irish. I just kind of wander along and I'll get eaten by a koala or a drop bear or something. But yeah,
there,
like how do you find that is a big issue when you're out in say the Australian like wild
I
that
think
you
I think I'm used to it, and so I probably don't see it as. But I think the thing about actually animals that are really like potentially dangerous, they really do send out pretty strong warning signs. So like if
okay
you're walking along and there's a snake in the path, it lets you know, like you have to be pretty unaware to step on a snake. And they don't generally want to hurt you, you know? They're
okay
like generally their point of view is I'm going to get out of the way unless you get in my way and then, I'll protect myself. So that's what I've noticed anyway.
yeah yeah I suppose it's not it that's something that I'd like to do. Well, I don't know what I like to test my ability to talk to poisonous animals as I'm walking along,
Yeah.
but
Well, the I mean the Irish countryside and the forests and everything is like they're beautiful and they're pretty tame in terms of like predators. um so, you
pretty
know,
much.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. But it's
But
just kind of sorry.
you go.
It is very easy for me to go out for a walk in take the two dogs. I don't have to literally think about anything except
Yeah.
where I'm going. And that
And
was
sorry, go.
sorry, that was the big thing for me was like you can't even walk along the beach without like a scorpion coming out and being like, what's up? And I'm like, I don't have to deal with that. So
Yeah.
like there's an element I'm
But
missing, even though I spent a massive amount of time out with, the horses and the animals and I have a farm and like, I still even miss this aspect of nature, the bit where you might die. I'll have to pop a bonus over that because I don't think it's as big of a deal.
well, and I think, a lot of people it's like you I think when you look at what people have created with their lives, a lot of it has been removing ourselves from situations where we can die from things in the wild. So it makes sense. And I don't
Mm.
know why, but for some reason, like there must be some stories going on in the UK and Ireland because like my uncle and my whole family over there are like isn't it, aren't there just like poisonous things everywhere? It's like no, it's not quite like that.
Yeah, yeah. I think
I,
it's just
sorry.
as we say in the UK and Ireland, there's like the complete lack of anything like that can do any harm to a human. Is a lot of like apart
I,
from drinking too much. I don't think there's
I,
anything we can really do
or
to harm that can harm us.
I have encountered the occasional like sheep or ram that's a bit feisty that breaks some legs. And also when I was over there I had these like terrifying geese just chase me everywhere and they make the loudest hissing sounds and they're like I would seriously be more scared of a like herd of geese than I would of a lion. I think they're like
Hmm.
terrifying.
They do. They attack cars. Like,
Yeah,
I live
and
in
they
rural Ireland.
they
They
peck
do.
and they hiss and they're just like, they look lovely, but they're like cruel animals, very cruel.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very like they're like dogs that have that environment. Like this is my land. This is my garden. Like if they're in the back house, the back garden, nothing will come in. No fox, no stray dog, no stray cat. The geese will just come for them. I don't know. It's a territorial thing. What that a bird does, but they're so funny.
Yeah, they sound like good alarm systems to me. So yeah, I guess basically the message that we would like to give you is, get your butt outside and, enjoy nature. Whatever, don't there's no excuse, just do it and your life will be better.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, the amount of like what you interaction that you learn and just the opportunity to just interact with more animals and even the trees and just nature and just add a bit of variety to your life.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for coming on and having a chat. And yeah, we'll see you all soon. Thanks for watching. And that's it for us. Bye for now.